Good morning and a very, very warm welcome to all of you to this particular session, which is titled as Developing the Tech Stack for EV Ecosystem. In the technology for EV ecosystem, we are going to deep dive into one particular technology, which is called location-based services for EV ecosystem. To put a little context about this particular technology, let me start by building three possible scenarios for this particular technology. So let me start with the scenario number one. We have a young executive. Her name is Priyanka. She stays in Andheri East. She has to appear for an interview in Navi Mumbai. She goes there, appears for an interview. She goes there in an EV two-wheeler. She appears for an interview. After interview, she discovers that she is little low on her EV battery. She now has three questions to answer. A, where is the nearest charging point? Two, is the charging point appropriate for her vehicle or not? And third, will there be any restaurant which would be close to that particular charging point? Let me talk about scenario number two. DMart has a dark store which is located at Ghatkopar, and that particular dark store is delivering all the online orders in the vicinity of about 10 kilometers. And this particular dark store is managed by an operation manager. His name is Adarsh, and he has got a fleet of EV vehicle, which could be two-wheelers or a three-wheelers or maybe a EV Tata Ace, which is available to him. And using this particular fleet, he delivers all these particular online orders. Every time there's an order which is coming to Adarsh, he again has got three questions to answer. Question number one is that what would be the next vehicle which would be available to him to deliver? Question number two is, will this particular vehicle have enough battery to go and deliver this order? And third question is, what is the most appropriate route that this particular vehicle can take to go and deliver this particular order? Let me build a scenario number three. There is a location in Navi Mumbai, and the residents of that particular locations are complaining that there are not enough charging points or maybe battery swapping stations in that particular locality. So a charge point operator like say Tata Power or maybe a battery swapping company like Sun Mobility decides to set up new charging point or a battery swapping stations there. Now, when they are setting up this entire thing, they again have three questions to answer. Question number one is that what are the current charge point, where are they located? Question number two is, what is their capacity and what is the demand at these particular charge points? And question number three is that what is the traffic which is there, EV traffic in this particular vicinity? Now, the reason I was building these three scenarios is all the 9 questions that I spoke about, they all get answered by a technology which is called location-based services. To go deeper into this particular technology, I am joined by 2 experts with me. On my extreme left, I have got Mr. Vijay Amanna. Vijay, welcome to you. Vijay is works as Vice President Operations for Hair Technologies. Vijay is a senior business leader with a career spanning 20 years, during which he has built a niche for himself in geospatial solutions domain. He has an extensive experience in running large operations, processes, and program management. Vijay joined Hair Technologies in 2009 and has held multiple leadership roles since then. He currently heads operations responsible for navigable map content creation and maintenance, leading a 3,000 plus strong team based in India and Mexico. Welcome to you, Vijay.
Thank you.
To my left, I'm joined by Mr. Niraj Mishra. Niraj is a founder of a startup called Eleride, a tech-driven e-mobility startup catering to the last-mile distribution sector with wealth of experience in automotive and EV industry, including positions as CEO of Bike Bazaar and heading business and expansion of OYO. Niraj brings a unique blend of strategic vision and operation expertise to the table. Welcome to you, Niraj. So let me start this entire discussion with these 2 experts. And let me start with you, Niraj. Niraj, Eleride, I would say, is a technology adopter or a user for location-based services. So would you like to talk a little more about your company? What does Eleride does? What kind of services do you bring to the EV ecosystem? and how does location-based services help your business?
Sure, sure. Thanks a lot, Dr. Gupta, for the introduction and setting the context, right? Eleride is an e-mobility endeavor, right, that is solving for the mobility needs of last mile distribution. Our primary offering is a full stack subscription services providing electric vehicles and access to LA Fleet, which is our technology platform that helps in seamless fleet optimization. Right? Additionally, we also help our financing partners to deploy EVs using our technology platform. Now coming to location-based services, of course, they are extremely vital for our operations. I'll cover a couple of maybe use cases. The first one which I'd like to discuss is routing, right, which is extremely critical for fleet optimization as well as customer experience. More so for smaller clients of ours, right, who don't have their own in-house technology product. And if I talk about numbers, in India, there are more than 1 million small unorganized logistics players, right? And this number does not even include such businesses which which deliver their own products. Just to give an interesting example of ours, one of our client is someone who provides meals on subscription to diabetic people, right? His clients used to love his food, but he was running blind when he was running using a fleet of petrol bikes. That's why the delivery experience was taking a hit. And as we know, diabetic people need food on time, right? So he was seeing a lot of churn happening, right? When he came to us, this was something which we could easily solve using location-based services. The second use case I'd like to discuss is around energy infrastructure. To set context, right, in India, there is one public charger serving, I believe, almost 175 EVs. When we compare it to EV leading countries, the ratio would be 15 to 20 per EV charger. For China, it's single digit, right? Although a lot of our companies are doing tremendous work in trying to bridge this gap, but it would be unwise to think that this is going to happen overnight, right? So we need to approach it strategically, right? What we do is we help our swapping and charging partners in terms of identifying the exact locations where they should come up with their next swapping or charging stations. We are able to do this because of the data which is of our fleet which is coming to us, right? This also helps these energy companies in terms of better utilization of their infrastructure, which is critical for their sustenance. And it also helps our reducing range anxiety for our clients. Other than these two, of course, it's very important for fleet safety. So the features like geofencing or remote immobilization are something which we use extensively. Sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Niraj. Coming to you, Vijay. So Hair Technologies is a leading player in location-based services. So would you like to talk about what are the services which are being rendered by Hair Technologies and how do they enable the EV ecosystem?
Yeah, to start with, thank you so much, Dr. Aditya and Niraj. Both of you all have actually done my job much easier actually by talking about location-based services. And before I start, I just want to give you a quick understanding of your technologies. First of all, many people actually don't have a clear understanding of the history of the organization. Like this is a company that was started in 1985. Like we are the pioneers in location-based services and the technology actually. Started with the name Navigation Technologies. Then we were well known as Navtech. And across Western Europe and Americas, like 4 out of 5 cars actually have our data. And so it's a very synonymous name with the location-based technology. We were then acquired by Nokia. We were a Nokia company, and then because the other cell phone providers were not happy having a Nokia map on their phone, we actually got renamed as Here Technologies. So with that, Here Technologies has been also rated by analytics companies as the top location-based content globally provided. And with that, we have been known as not only just a global data content provider, but also a software provider for location-based services as well. We have, like coming to the EV ecosystem, I think this is where we have our EV routing solutions that's actually in play. Uh, and this caters to a lot of these services that Niraj just talked about. And the solution which we come to right now and which is provided over here actually tends to ensure that we answer all the questions. We talked about range anxiety, we talked about charging station locations, and the way things are moving ahead is having dynamic content now being available where if you have a charging station, you should know what is the kind of like the grid in terms of how much you're going to pay over there, what is the kind of adaptability that you have with your vehicle, also in terms of just simplistic things around how long will it take you to actually charge a vehicle over there.
Sure.
And these are kind of things that can be readily available with these kind of systems. And we can always talk more about how these things are enabled as we go along.
Thanks. Thanks, Vijay. So coming to you, Niraj, again. So your business model requires you to own a lot of EV vehicle. And when you own these particular EV vehicle, obviously they require some kind of a breakdown maintenance also and some kind of a preventive maintenance also. So how do you manage at this point of time breakdown and preventive maintenance for you?
Sure, Dr. Gupta. We keep hearing that EVs require less maintenance because they have fewer number of moving parts, a few hundreds compared to thousands in IC vehicles. But if you tell this to any electric fleet operator, right, the person is going to laugh, right?
Sure.
And the reason for this is, yes, EVs have fewer number of moving parts, but the product is still evolving. It's not matured. And it's going to take some time till it reaches there, right? Other interesting thing which we have seen in reports is, which says that by 2030, the entire EV industry in India would be needing 10 to 12 million new employees, right? And these are direct employees. They say the possible number of indirect people working in the industry would be 5 times of this, right? Now, neither can we expect that this entire 10, 12, or if we say 60, 65 million people are going to be new entrants to the automotive industry, nor can we expect that the existing IC players, right? These can be service engineers, these can be the local roadside mechanics or workshops, right? They are going to vanish overnight. That's not going to happen. So these people need to be trained. And I strongly believe that technology can play a very strong role in helping them in this transition, right? Even we face this challenge. Majority of the service executives whom we hire, after joining us, it's the first time when they are touching an electric vehicle. They were used to servicing, IC vehicles. So, of course, the training part takes time and a lot of effort. But parallelly, we have also built a tool. So on the customer facing side of the tool, there are 7 to 8 simple questions which a rider can easily answer. And on the back end, there are 9,600 plus data points, which allows this tool to predict with decent accuracy that exactly what's wrong with the EV. What parts needs to be repaired or what parts needs to be changed. And what would be the cost involved, including factors like geography, right? Same repair can cost different in Bombay vis-a-vis Bangalore. Sure. So all this is, so this definitely improves in the entire efficiency. And in the long term, once we have enough sample size, then we can remove the entire set of questions with a machine vision instead. Our telematic partners, definitely they provide us with very helpful vehicle and battery health data. But the issue is, a large chunk of, especially electric two-wheelers, which are operating in last mile segment, are budget electric two-wheelers which are not even CAN enabled. So there is a limit to the amount of data it can fetch.
True.
So yeah, that would be my take on that.
So Vijay, let me ask you the same question. Obviously, you are an expert in terms of technology. So I just want to Niraj spoke about IoT, telematics, and connectivity. So how can these things be involved in terms of preventive maintenance? And what is Hair Technologies doing around that?
Yeah. When you talk about preventive maintenance, I just like to also help the team understand how this works.
Vijay, can you raise your mic?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Sure. So the way this works is that this system is not like you would have a navigation system built into your IVI or your cluster, which gives you routing. The way it works is that it is actually sitting on a chip, which actually is connected across all the components in the vehicle. Now that enables the system to generate a lot of data, the real-time data, with regards to everything. When it comes to like telematics, giving you an understanding of driver behaviors, giving you information about the wear and tear of components in the vehicle, the ability to understand battery degradation or even amount of charge that is available. So all of this actually enables you to get a lot of analytics from the data that is being generated. It gives you warning signs of issues that would come up from the degradation of the battery or even the components, which allows fleet owners to optimize by ensuring that there is proactive maintenance that is being built into the schedules as well. You talked about how you were able to actually minimize the issue with breakdowns. These things can be easily pre-managed by these systems, and like optimizing of the fleet operations using the data is something that is very easily done through these services that are available. Other than preventive maintenance, I think route planning also, along with the driver behaviors, ensures that the vehicle upkeep is maintained in a way that you'd want to increase the life as well as the sustainability of the vehicles as well. So,
Thanks. Coming back to you, Niraj, I got a similar question. Again, because you have so many vehicles which are there and most of these particular vehicles are given on rent also, how do you manage insurance for your vehicles?
Sure, definitely, Dr. Gupta. Insurance along with financing these are two important bottlenecks for the industry, right? If I look from the insurer's lens, right, I understand, like I said sometime earlier, the quality of the product is still evolving. It has evolved a lot in the last 2 years, but prior to that, if I may see, the products were really bad, and that's why a lot of insurers have burned their hands. And if when we talk about fleet operations, right, it adds another layer of complexity to it. Now, I don't know, say, this particular vehicle in my fleet, who would be riding that vehicle 3 months down the line?
Sure.
Nobody knows. And there is a remote possibility that the person who would be riding runs away with the vehicle, right? So these kind of challenges have made insurers very conservative, and that's the reason we see premiums, right? Although I believe there is a mandate of the third-party premium being 15% lower for an electric vehicle than an IC vehicle. But still, when we look at the overall premium, it can be anywhere between 25 to 60% higher than a ICE counterpart.
Yeah.
Technology definitely can play an interesting role there, where if products like pay as per users or like driving behavior, what Vijay was mentioning, if they come, it can be very interesting for us. But at least the insurers with whom we have worked till date or interacted with, we have not been offered, at least from a fleet perspective, I have not seen anyone offering that till now.
yeah. So I can just add over there,
Yeah.
in terms of insurance, these days now you can also have driver profiles being created for your vehicles. And with that, what you would know is that for a particular vehicle, the driver who's being using it, and from your analytics data, you can actually gauge for a particular vehicle and the usage and the drivers that you have. So this information allows you, like I talked about, breakdown maintenance as well. But at the same time, insurance companies can leverage that data to actually bring down the premiums on analyzing those vehicles. At the operations level, the fleet owners can actually start managing which vehicle should be allocated to which drivers, so that the premiums for that particular vehicle is actually reduced, and also for the driver. So those kind of things from a technology perspective can be actually managed to actually bring down your insurance costs. Yeah.
So Niraj, I would digress a bit. Okay, so there are a certain amount of regulations which are there around the EV ecosystem which are there.
Sure.
So I would like to know your views in terms of which of these regulations are working, which are not working. What would you like to see more in terms of regulations as far as EV ecosystem is concerned?
Sure, Dr. Gupta. So I must say that both the central government as well as majority of the state governments have been proactive and came up with fantastic policies which has definitely helped EV adoption. If I talk about the current FAME 2 subsidy, which came up with 10,000 outlay of 10,000 CR, which then got increased by another 1,500 CR, that definitely has had a significant impact in terms of boosting EV sales across categories, especially in two and three wheelers. On top of that, even the taxation has helped. The GST of 5% on EVs, that really helps the customer as well as businesses like us, right?
Sure.
When we talk about mass or mobility as a service, for a IC vehicle, the GST applicable is 28%, right?
Sure.
Which makes the entire business model a question mark. So all these, and even state governments have been very proactive. So this has definitely helped us. And again, the PLI schemes, now we see a lot of international players want to come India. There is initial momentum which we can see around cells. Till now in India, there was majorly everyone was manufacturing a battery pack. But now we are talking about cells, which should bring the cost down, which should improve the quality. So I am very optimistic with the steps which governments have taken on it. Now, if I have to say about a couple of things where I believe policies can be a bit different, which can help us. The first thing which I'd like to talk about would be predictability, right? If we can have consistent long-term policies, then it will help every player in the ecosystem to strategize better, right? To give you an example, last year, it was announced that from June 1st, if I remember correctly, the subsidy on electric two-wheelers will be reduced significantly,
Yeah.
right? That definitely adversely impacted sales of electric two-wheelers, as well as even when we talk about OEMs, right? Majority of the OEMs are planning new products keeping subsidy in mind. Now, I don't want to debate whether they are doing it right or wrong, but that's how things are. And it, again, impacts them significantly. So this is one. Second is not very EV related, but as we all know that RTO is a state purview, right? That's why every state has different regulations, different license requirement, different approval mechanism, right? Which makes it very cumbersome for players like us, and when we want to expand, I think adopting EVs is one of the rare things where every government is on the same page.
Absolutely.
So they can, maybe this can be a starting point,
Yeah.
where there can be a one window approval for players like us. Like if I have got approval, say in Bombay, then I'm free to open my operations in Jammu and Kashmir or Tamil Nadu tomorrow. And it will be more important for electric vehicles because at least in the near to mid-term, I feel that majority of the vehicles are gonna be owned by intermediaries, not by the riders. Players like us who will want to grow to different geographies. So this is one thing which will definitely help. And one another thing which everyone talks about is, on vehicle we have 5% GST, but on batteries and battery related services like swapping or battery rentals, it's 18%. If that can be brought down to 5%, it's gonna help, I believe, the entire ecosystem.
Sure. Well said. Coming to you, Vijay. So, if I look at utilization of EV vehicles in India, so most of them are being used either by gig workers or maybe people are using two-wheelers and three-wheelers for personal use and other things. But utilization of EV vehicles is not so dominant as far as freight transportation is concerned. Logistic and supply chain industry is one industry that definitely requires a lot of EV to be there in terms of reducing the emissions and other things also. So I would like to know your thoughts on that. What are the impediments which are there? How can we increase the adoption of EV vehicles in freight transportation?
Well, in fleet transportation, typically the kind of data that's being used, when you talk about, like I talked about how, the EV vehicles are actually controlled using, on the chipset. So for these fleet vehicles, it's very important to get the exact kind of charge that is used for a particular trip, which can be managed through location-based services where the terrain is also used to actually understand, like if you're going up a gradient, then like you actually end up using more of the charge. The consumption is much higher than actually going downhill. And those kind of things can come through by using these kind of data sets that you have. And having said that, this actually allows to get the consumption of the battery to that last mile from a planning perspective. And those kind of solutions will definitely help you to improve the kind of adaptability of EV into the fleet management systems. And of course, when you look at the options that are available, we talked about predictive maintenance, we talked about driver behaviors, we talked about being able to identify patterns or even trends in terms of wear and tear, and also options that will help you to actually optimize your fleet management and your operations. So these kind of things will definitely work towards, bringing these freight carriers and fleets to actually adopt EV and location-based services into the system. And I think it's not far away because things are moving very fast. Connectivity is actually coming very soon. It's going to hit you even before you know it. And that's actually going to drive the change.
Thanks. So one last question that I have before we throw it open to the audience, and this question is common to both of you. So what are the top two trends that you are looking at the market at this point of time in EV ecosystem, which you believe will have a lot of implication for logistic and supply chain industry?
Sure.
Maybe starting, okay. Vijay, if you want, you can start, not a problem.
Okay. So, and it was a great segue because I started talking about connected vehicles. One is, communications. When we talk of communications, V2X, vehicle to everything communication is the biggest technology trend that's actually going to come and hit you very soon. We all know about vehicles being connected. We talked about how fleet operations can manage and remotely also control vehicles on the ground. Besides this, you also have that's called a vehicle. Then you have vehicle to vehicle communications. You have vehicle to the grid communication, where you are able to understand where and when you can actually charge, what is the cheapest places where you can charge. Those kind of communications also do happen. And then you have vehicle to infrastructure communications, where you're able to understand like road conditions, the infrastructure, traffic conditions, all of those things happening together as well. All of those things put together actually give you very good solutions from a fleet perspective. The second piece that I would like to talk about would be with regards to AEVs, autonomous electronic vehicles. In terms of maintaining, vehicles, very soon you'll find that certain roads, we've already started this for certain segments where, of course, in the Western Europe as well in the US, certain segments you can have autonomous AEV is actually driving, and this will actually help you to actually reduce costs, not just on the labor side, but also overall optimizing things, having round-the-clock operations. Those are kind of the benefits that you see over there. So I think those are two technology trends that can definitely change the environment.
Sure, thanks. Your views?
Sure. So as Dr. Gupta, you asked that in the EV ecosystem, two emerging things, right? First thing is, I think everything in the ecosystem is emerging, right? Still. But I'll pick two, things which I believe can have significant impact, right? First, and again here I'll digress a bit from location-based services because Vijay has already covered that. One thing I believe now time has come is a structured market to come up for pre-owned EVs and second life of batteries, right? Lot of time we hear that this electric scooter costs this much versus a Honda Activa costs this much or a Bajaj Platina costs this much, right? One thing we forget there is actually a lot of Activas and Platinas which are being used, at least for logistics, were not bought new. They were pre-owned, right? That's one part. Second thing is why the interest rates are so high, right? One major component on EVs, I mean.
Sure.
One major reason is that there is no second-hand market for electric vehicles, right? And this is something we closely work upon, right? From day one, we have built capabilities around pre-owned EVs. We have a lot of pre-owned EVs in our fleet. Now coming to the second life of batteries, a lot of time we say battery is not working anymore. But actually what we mean is battery is no more working for that particular use case. Right?
Okay.
The same battery can work well for some other mobility use case where the range requirement is lesser. Or it can also later gradually move to some other use cases, like say a stationary energy storage, right? This is one interesting thing. And the second thing, although I know there can be a lot of infra-related or tech-related challenges or policy-related challenges, but something which excites me a lot is vehicle-to-grid. Where the vehicles can be a distributed, batteries rather can be distributed sources of energy storage, and they can give it back to the grid.
Yeah.
Right. And this can become very interesting considering that we as a country have taken a target of 500 gigawatt by 2030 of renewable energy, which if you look at renewable, right, storage it costs you much more than production. So if we can fix these things, this can be something interesting. And on top of that, if we can have variable pricing, depending upon what has been the load at that point of the day, like many countries have, then this can also become another channel of revenue for fleet operators as well as battery companies. So these are the two I pick.
Thanks.